the only insect that ever bit me that sent me to the hospital.
Yeah, it's getting me. Oh, yeah.
Instant pain. I still remember it. I call my doctor, and he was like, you got to come in right away.
I was excited for the views.
Bitten by an assassin bug. This episode of Becoming Brave is brought to you by Summit Adventure Fuel. Unlock your next adventure and get there. What's going on, everybody? I'm Mark Vins, and welcome back to the Becoming Brave podcast, where we dive into all the cool adventures we've been on for Brave Wilderness, talk about hot takes, behind the scenes, news, all kinds of stuff. Pretty much anything that has to do with adventure in the Brave Wilderness universe. And once again, I am joined by my adventure duo, Andrew and Asa. Guys, it's another day on the podcast. How we doing?
Good. We got a wild one on tap.
We do. That's right. In today's episode, we're actually going to be diving into the behind-the-scenes making of the only insect that ever bit me that sent me to the hospital. And the crazy part is, I knew it was going to happen. But before we get into that, we're going to get into some hot takes and maybe some news. What do we got going on in the world right now of wildlife and adventure? What's going on, guys?
Well, we definitely have some good episodes coming out on the Brave Wilderness channel and the Mark Vins channel. We have Murder Hornet coming out.
Ooh,
soon.
the one
that is on the horizon, so be on the lookout for
maybe
that.
the most requested Brave Wilderness episode I have ever seen, at least in many, many years. Like, people have been they're not only asking if it's happening, they're like, when? When is it coming? When are we releasing it? Can we tell them when? Do we know?
Not yet, but it's
slated
it's
for this summer, I would say,
Yeah.
right?
I'd say it's probably like a month away.
Yeah.
I think we say like in the next month.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Wow.
fair.
Yeah. It's coming soon.
On Mark Vins channel first.
And it is worth the wait. It is bad. Very bad.
I'm excited for it.
Chris is hard at work on that one. In addition to the film,
Oh, yes.
it's coming along nicely.
Hard at work on our first feature documentary film about the Galapagos. Very exciting.
Some of the fans already know about it, actually.
Oh, really?
If they've been following along for a bit and
Yeah.
they watched marine iguanas a year or two ago, they'd know.
We announced it. Yeah. I feel bad because it's taken so long. It's almost. Do you guys remember when Lord of the Rings came out?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the first Fellowship came out. What was it, like 2000?
Yeah.
Something around there.
Mhm.
They were like literally teasing that movie in like 97. Like, it was on every teaser reel for like 3 years, I felt like. And I feel a little guilty because I feel like we pulled one of those with Galapagos.
A 28 years later type
Yeah.
type release at this point.
Don't worry. We'll be promoting when it's actually coming out. Hopefully sometime at the end of 2025 or very early 2026. But it is nearing completion. We've been working on it for over 2 years at this point, and I also believe it is well worth the wait.
Arguably the most epic Brave Wilderness journey to date.
Easily, by a mile.
Yeah.
By many miles.
Yeah, not many people have gone where we've gone, that's for sure.
Totally. Yeah, it's a first. So, yeah, that's exciting. You know, the other piece of news that I've seen happening a lot in the digital sphere or the creator sphere is everybody's talking about this like one man versus 100 gorillas thing. Have you guys been seeing this?
All over the place.
I'm getting lit up. on
You
DMs.
are uniquely positioned to comment on the situation, having gotten so close to them in the past.
Yeah.
And the biggest of the bunch.
Yeah.
It's an absurd thing that it's actually become like a meme and has caught on in such a huge way. I'm always surprised when these viral moments happen. You know, right when the pandemic lockdown occurred, the murder hornet story came out.
Because they were
right.
like, and they found a few of them in the United States, right?
They were like on the West Coast.
Yeah, and Good Morning America called us. It was so bizarre, and it was like way after we did that video. So, you know, this, of course, this gorillas versus a human being thing is many years after Brave Mission has been out. You know, where we found the Congo's largest gorillas, Big Any, and you know, just thinking back about that, it's just so absurd.
Should we start with our takes? Saving yours for last because yours is probably the most informed.
It's an absurd thing, but yeah, I guess let's dive into 100 men versus a silverback. Is it a silverback gorilla?
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah. They say one gorilla, but I think we need to specify it should be a silverback to even be kind of fair.
And
I'm leading the witness. Go ahead.
I have a caveat. I think the 100 men win, but if it's just 100 men prepared mentally to attack a gorilla that's just hanging out in the wild, I think the men win. But if the gorilla knew that these 100 men are coming to attack it, and understood that, I think the gorilla takes it easy.
Huh.
I
think if
wait. So we have to. There has to be a little bit of a rule discussion here. Is it 100 men at the same time versus a gorilla, or is it one at a time?
Oh my God, it's 100 at the same time.
Yeah,
okay. No chance.
Oh, I think if
otherwise.
it's just back to back, he's just
okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Done for if they're just coming in a line at him.
Yeah. Oh God. Not even close. Yeah.
Next.
Yeah.
It's like that one video. Have you seen the video where the backyard and the dad starts slapping everyone? It'd be like that. Anyway, keep going.
If they could circle, they would have to be organized.
Yeah.
And also free of fear.
And you would have to accept that you're going to have major casualties and you're just rolling the dice, and they all have to be brave enough to keep going at him. Where if some of them start to flee and fear sets in, done for. So it really matters on who's going.
Yeah, no detractors.
Yeah.
You know what? That point actually makes. I think the gorilla wins no matter what.
I know. I think in a real world scenario, just verse
in
armed,
reality, nobody's running out of summer.
Exactly. If these were very, very physically fit men with zero fear, in their system, I think they could do it.
But
that's not happening.
A randomized pool of
100
100 U.S. men just get dropped in with a silverback gorilla. Done for.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah. All right.
So that's your take.
I'm changing my vote.
Yeah.
All right. So your vote is no.
Yeah.
No.
Well, gorilla. I guess my vote is gorilla.
The men take
and
it away.
I'm also assuming,
because isn't the question, could 100 men take a single gorilla or take on a single gorilla? Is that the question? Verse, who would win?
Yeah.
Okay. Just so we're clear.
Yep.
And you're saying gorilla.
I'm gonna go gorilla.
Okay. So let me preface it. I've been in the presence of very large silverback gorillas. I actually had one brush against my leg, and I've also seen what they can do firsthand. Some of it was
there
caught.
Was some attack on
camera.
Yeah,
we saw silverbacks fight. So I've seen what two silverbacks fighting each other looks like. Some of it showed up in Brave Mission. You can see one of the silverbacks' face was hanging off, and it is so savage. When they flip and they turn that switch on, it is very scary. It's terrifying. And I've actually seen, as we were leaving, this is off camera, I've seen a gorilla, a tree this big around, literally pick it like it's a dandelion, boom, and throw it in front of me. Do you know how strong a tree with a trunk like this would be? How many men it would take to rip it out of the ground?
And it would be like a truck job. You would tie it to the hitch of your truck and tow it out.
Yeah, the gorilla picked it up out of the ground like it was I don't know, picking an apple off a tree, just threw it in front of me. I was the display of strength that I've seen in person a silverback gorilla pull off. I will say this: if it's 100 versus one person all at the same time, in reality, there's just no way the men would win without weapons and things. We're talking fair fight, right?
Fair fight. You can't go in with
no weapons, nothing So under that context, in reality, over half of that group of men are going to run the other way as soon as they see what happens to the first guy. Because I literally think a silverback gorilla could break a person in half. I seriously, genuinely think that. And beyond that, the only way it would be the other decision. So if that's what it is, I'm voting gorilla. If it was one at a time, and you could not detract, it was like gladiator style. You can't run away. You're stuck. You have to do this, or else the other way is death. Right? It would have to be that extreme.
Yeah.
One at a time. I think eventually the gorilla would get tired out. So that's the only plausible way. The only strategy that would work where some of the humans, maybe only one, survives, is if you did one at a time, just like you're fighting a big fish, right? The guys who catch those 1,000-pound tuna. Takes hours and hours and hours. You would have to have the fight go on for hours and hours and hours.
That's where humans are actually uniquely positioned endurance-wise. we are actually like at the very like upper range of like land animals with endurance.
That's the only plausible way.
I do feel
without
like,
weapons, without something else.
The only thing, human punches on a gorilla are like nothing.
That's zero.
Yeah,
Like
zero.
I mean, think about like
registration.
the environment that they live in and are like just rolling around in. Like we'd get hurt so quickly doing any gorilla type movement. Where for them, it's like I feel like you'd be punching sandpaper and like
it also makes me
like
think
a stone.
Like you don't realize it, but like animals' coats are so insanely tough. Like turkeys, like even just a turkey, those feathers are like armor. Like
So
they're so much tougher than you think.
you look at a gorilla and they have
animals.
like those distended bellies, right? And people look at it like, oh, it's fat. There's no fat
It's
on
abs.
a gorilla.
It's all abs.
That is like just
pack of
gut,
muscle.
it's just a gut full of food is all it is. I mean, they're herbivores, so they're just eating just tonnage. You know, these guys are just consuming food all day. So it's just like literally a tank of food. They are pure muscle, and it's just an absurd thing to even consider. And I'm still. I think the most shocking thing about it is how much of a dialogue it's taken on online. So our official answer, right? Like 100 verse 1 is gorilla, gorilla, gorilla. So you heard it here, guys. The Brave Wilderness team.
Team gorilla.
Team gorilla. There you go. Okay. Now that we've taken a while, go down that crazy rabbit hole, let's get into the main topic for today. We're going to talk about the behind the scenes of bitten by an assassin bug in Borneo. And we had actually caught and considered doing the assassin bug bites before. Remember, the first time we encountered it was in Arizona. We were trying to catch tarantula hawks, and we caught a mimic that was an assassin bug, and we ended up not going through it. And it's not that I chickened out, but because I knew I would have to get tested for a disease if I were to go through this bite. And that's what I meant earlier in terms of like getting bitten by one of these bugs, you're going to have to get tested for parasites. So it's this extra layer beyond the experiment. And that's why we didn't do it the first time. But we saw this one right here. Look at that thing in Borneo. And it was just so crazy looking. I was like, I mean, this needs to go on the BSI.
Yeah, we had seen them in our prior adventures, and this wasn't your first experience with the kissing bug either. So it was kind of
well, kissing bugs are different.
kissing. Okay, yep. Okay.
Kissing bugs are assassin bugs, but there's just like this is not a kissing bug, but it's an assassin bug. There's a huge. I mean, we're talking about like hundreds and probably thousands. I think it's thousands of species of assassin bugs around the world.
Oh wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so they're like globally distributed.
Yes, but for the most part, they're found in like neotropics. Like that's where you'd find them, like in jungles and rainforests and things like that. You can find them in the desert. I guess, yeah. No, they're in Ohio too. Yeah, they're kind of everywhere.
Wow. Yeah. So
Iceland probably has no assassin bugs.
Iceland has no mosquitoes.
I saw that. That's why I brought that up.
this morning.
Yeah.
I know that.
I think it's the only country on Earth without a mosquito
Really?
population.
I wonder if they have ticks. Wonder what parasites live in Iceland.
See,
Another rabbit hole.
yeah,
Let's not go
yeah.
down that one right now. But anyway, assassin bug. Wasn't going to go through with it because I'd actually been bitten by a kissing bug
Assassin
before,
bug.
which is an assassin bug. I was bitten by one in Costa Rica. That was my first learning of this disease called Chagas, which is a silent killer. And it's very much a problem in like Latin America and South America. And what it is if you're bitten by one of these kissing bugs, which really hurts, by the way. I was like in Costa Rica. We were filming, trying to find bullet ants, actually. First bullet ant sting attempt, which did not go well. These kissing bugs were breeding, and they were like at night, we were under our canopy, and there's just all of them like flying around, hanging out by the lights, just mounds of these kissing bugs.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, you want to see what a kissing bug looks like? Let's pop over here.
So we're calling them kissing bugs. We're calling them assassin bugs. What is the defining feature of this type of insect?
So an assassin bug is an insect that hunts other insects. So they're predators, and they have a proboscis that they use to inflict that lethal bite. And what they do is they have a sting, a bite. It's not really a sting, it's a bite, and they inject an enzyme into their prey that liquefies them, dissolves them from the inside out.
Ooh,
And they do
nasty.
it very quickly. Like they're fast and they're lethal killers.
Hence the name
And
assassin.
you know, like the air guns that they use on like cattle.
Oh my god,
That's
what do you
like
mean?
this is turning dark.
Like,
Yeah.
I know- well,
like a cattle. No, you're
cattle.
talking about like the
bolt.
yeah, the bolt gun.
Oh,
Yeah.
ugh.
That's kind of what the assassin bug's mouth, like proboscis, makes me think of. The way it comes out like that. It's just like it slowly comes down on it, but then it's just like.
Yeah, let's take a closer look. So this is the
Anton
species
Chigurh.
that bit me. This kissing bug right here from Costa Rica is what was breeding. They were just all over the place. And one flew on my hand. And I was, you see this and they're small, they're only about this big. And I went to go like blow it off, and that really set it off quickly, because it was like someone took a hammer and went whoa bam and just smacked my hand. The instant pain, I still remember it. It really hurt. It's like if you're hammering a nail and you hit your thumb with the hammer. That's what it felt like.
Whoa.
And of course then I'm like, wow, that was impressive, and wasn't expecting that to happen. The next morning I had like a blood blister underneath where it bit. And then the weeks to follow, it started to itch really badly. And like I had this like prolonged aftermath where it just wasn't healing. Every time I would like sweat or something, it would just roar back. So then that made me want to investigate it. I'm like, maybe I contracted something here. Turns out these kissing bugs in particular are known to transmit a silent killer disease called Chagas, which is it gets into your body through the hole that it cuts when it bites you. So that bite makes a hole in your skin where it delivers that enzyme. That enzyme is what hurts, but the parasite comes from their fecal matter. So they're sort of covered in these parasites because they're not very clean insects. And when they bite you, they basically introduce this parasite. And the problem with Chagas is the disease that the parasite causes. What is the parasite's name? Let's Trypanosoma cruzi. I probably really butchered that. So that's the parasite that causes Chagas, but Chagas is the disease that happens years later. So this is why it's so bad. You're bitten, you get this parasite, and much like Lyme disease, you don't know right away. It takes up to 10 years for these, really bad symptoms to present themselves, and it's like debilitating, and it actually can cause heart failure. So big problem in Latin and South America, where these bugs are prolific, and kids and everyone are bitten by them a lot, and they have to get on a specific antibiotic. So if you don't, like Lyme disease, if you don't cure it early and you get late stage, there's almost no cure. So of course I'm reading all this after being bitten.
And oh my gosh.
And I'm freaking out. So I call my international health clinic doctor, and I was like, hey, I was bitten by this bug. And he was like, you got to come in right away for a blood test. I was like, oh, this escalated.
Yeah.
So I come in and get the blood test, and I was like, hey, he's like, yeah, we're going to test you for this disease, but I have to ship it to the CDC because it's not like a big thing in the United States. We pretty much cured Chagas in the United States, but if you have it, they have to source the reserve of medication to treat it, because there's a small reserve that the CDC had at the time. You couldn't go to like Walgreens and get this medication. So I actually had to get tested twice, once a month after, and then another time 6 months after. Both test negative, but that's how I learned about Chagas. And after going through this experience, I was on red alert for assassin bugs. So that's why we didn't, go through with the assassin bug test in Arizona. However,
nothing like your doctor telling you have to come in for a blood test right away, and then you have to send it to the CDC. Like that's a nice one too of spook.
Yeah,
it's scary.
Yeah, it was not the news I wanted to hear. I was like, hey, I got bit by this insect. He's like, was it a kissing bug? And I was like, yeah, actually. He was like, you've got to come in right away.
Good bedside manner.
Yeah, great doctor, good guy. So we see this assassin bug in Borneo a couple times before we actually decided to go through with it. But they're stunning.
Stuck out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, it's so much different looking than a kissing bug, much larger. This assassin bug in Borneo is like at least 3 or 4 times the size of a kissing.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
way bigger. And just so cool looking. I was like, and I'd have been playing around with this in my mind since we started the BSM. Like, should we do an assassin bug? We should. We probably should. And knowing that my chances were very low, of contracting chagas specifically over in Asia. There's only been like a few cases ever in Asia. I was like, this is probably the safest one to test. So that's like why I was in the algorithm in my mind of like, is this safe to do? This one seemed like the moment. So that's why we decided to do this. But there's a lot of parasites we don't know about. So I knew I'd still have to go do a blood test no matter what. And hence, here we go. Let's film the catch, or let's not film. Let's view the catch. So there we go. Those are some different looking assassin bugs right there. The variety is staggering. There are so many different looking assassin bugs and colorations and shapes.
This was a really cool environment we were in for this one.
Was this our last shoot? No.
No.
Proboscis monkeys was last. This was our last shoot with. It
was our last shoot
with Max.
At Mount Kinabalu.
Yeah, Mount Kinabalu. Yeah.
This was like halfway point through Borneo production. Because Max and Lockie were with us on this one.
This was a very cool environment.
There's Max right there. Max had been up all night looking for king cobras. So he was a little tired.
I think this is the moment you found it, right?
We had seen a few flying around, so we knew like this was a good shot, and then boom, here we go. Looks like a little strawberry.
Yeah, in a sea of brown and green, the red really stuck out.
They weren't ever trying to hide.
No, they're super aposematic. They're giving you that coloration. I should probably turn on the audio too for anyone just listening.
Is not only going to be something that really hurts, but is also a bite that's definitely going to send me to the hospital.
So how did you guys feel about
bigger
this?
than I remember too. Like that's taking up a good amount of the jar.
They're so impressive. That's really what put me over the line of like, we got to do this. And I knew, next time we're in Borneo, who knows when that's going to be. I'd never seen assassin bug like this before. This one was so much more just aggressive looking.
Yeah,
really fit the title, assassin bug. But the thing about this moment, I'm curious to ask you guys is, how did you feel about me going through an experiment knowing that I was going to have to do a follow-up treatment, whole testing process at the hospital? Like, would that make you feel?
I was excited for the views. I was like, this is gold. From a producer perspective, I was like, this is good stuff.
That means you've been around here for a while.
It was definitely going to be a unique aftermath score. So like when we rate all the stings on, intimidation, pain, and aftermath, this one was going to get a very unique aftermath score. So the prospect of that was a bit exciting. And the fact that you had done it before, and the fact that
I had not done it. I'd been bitten before.
Been bitten, yeah. But the fact that you had been bitten and gotten tested and tested negative, and the fact that it is treatable with proper detection, I felt okay about you going through with it. Usually I'm like kind of always I do some worrying for you.
Yeah.
But
also when we're breaking the mold on you've done a lot of wasp and bee stings.
Yeah.
And like a good amount of like scorpion stings and stuff at this point. But whenever we shift it into an insect that you haven't really touched on, it's always interesting to be like, all right, how is it going to play out? Like, how bad is the pain of something that's not quite as tested?
And it's just bizarre.
Yeah.
Too. Because besides, this one's very striking, but normally when you see assassin bugs, they're kind of unassuming. You look at them and you're like, it's got this tiny little head with a little elephant trunk looking mouthpiece, and doesn't seem like something that could really do much damage.
They move super slow. Like, they're not in a rush.
They sort of look like a stink bug.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people get bit by them because they think they're stink bugs, and they go to like pick them up to remove them, and they just like get tagged on the hand. Right, the hand is a very common place to get bit. That and like the neck.
They are, that's a good observation. They're not super fast until they strike.
Yeah,
this one actually escaped once on set.
You heard me right.
We should watch that. We actually got
after the shoot. I'm gonna have to seek medical attention for what I'm about to do.
Let's get a good look at it.
Hopefully,
let's
it
see
just
the mouth
sits
part.
right there.
So it had squirmed out of the forceps and was on the table, and that's a great shot. I mean, look at that thing. That's the piece right there. That long pipe-like mouth that tucks under its face. That's what it extends out and jabs you.
The coloration slowly extends out and then
yeah. And I didn't realize there's like a pin inside of it that shoots out.
Well, it's a mouthpiece.
Yeah.
We'll see that here in a second. You got a great shot of that. But
the legs are so striking. I mean, the whole thing is striking, but like the red to the black to the white to the red. I mean, black.
And this isn't like color boosted. This is exactly what they look like.
It is screaming at you not to mess with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that aposematic warning coloration, very clear. Don't mess with me. And the way they act, you always know when an insect or an animal has the stuff, has the goods, because usually they're not going anywhere. They're calm. They don't want to move.
Best example of that is the stonefish. The gnarliest venom, and it just
sits.
Just doesn't care.
It knows
all.
it's packing.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is where I'm like, maybe it won't fly away. Boom.
Almost flew away there. This has got to be one of the most aposematic looking insects you could ever see. Oh.
Tried to fly away and flew away again. This is actually a pretty good catch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no net. It was. So a lot of people don't know this about me, but I actually grew up playing tennis. So I had to pull out some old like net skills. There at the end.
I saw you wind up that forearm. I was like, oh, it's coming.
I swatted it. I whacked it. They're tough.
Yeah.
I
It's
knew
totally fine.
Yeah.
That's the thing that always strikes me about these larger insects is that they are covered in a suit of armor.
Mm-hmm.
They are tough little guys.
I thonked it.
Yeah.
Was able to get it back.
Gave him a little daze.
Somebody ran up with the force, or maybe I had it in my hand.
Got it.
So, on this trip particularly, I'd lost some insects because we were doing the giant carpenter beast thing, especially the black one. And how many did I lose? 5?
4 or 5.
Yeah.
Too many.
It was all
we
in
had
a
one
row.
escape in the edit, but it was 5 guys.
Yeah.
It
was a
rough
lot,
day.
a lot of fumbles. So, yeah, I wasn't taking any chances with that. I was like, let's get back to the table and not have this happen again. So we got back. We did the bite. Now, here's the thing about this.
Great
this is
shot.
another great shot. Man, you guys really nailed
Is
it.
by
B-roll.
injecting
don't
with
move
that
very
long proboscis
So we already talked about how they work.
zone with the assassin bug.
So let's go into the
On
bite
3.
itself. So I have no idea what to expect when this bite
ready?
happens. I thought it may
I'm
take a
Mark
while.
Binns,
That was my
and I'm
concern.
about
Like
to
this,
enter
you
the
may have to
fight
hold it here
zone
and cut
with
around.
the assassin bug.
How slow this
On
is because it
3.
moves so slow. But look what
1.
happens.
2, 3.
All right. A lot of tension in this moment.
Its proboscis is still fully tucked.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know when a mosquito lands on you, and you feel that first that sting, that piercing feeling. That's what I sort of expected to happen. I thought I would get like a little heads up. Here comes the pain. I was not ready for this.
The way the legs like plant.
Ah! Dang it! Wow!
It just lightly touched an instant sear. Just at the first like little graze of touch, it instantly hurt. And so it was shocking. So I was like, whoa, that's not what I expected. So I had to do it again, obviously, because I really didn't let it bite me well.
I gotta go again. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ah, it's biting me. Yep, it's biting me. Ah, it's it. Oh, yeah, it's getting me. Oh, yeah.
And it looks like the proboscis is just touching. Do we do a slow-mo of that, or is that the only time?
I think it gets held on.
Oh, yeah, that got.
Oh, yeah, you can really.
Gotta pause it.
Yeah, it's getting me. Oh, yeah.
So you can see here, that's not where I want to pause it. There it is.
There
Boom.
you go. Boom.
Needle inside.
Yeah, so it's not just this little mouthpiece like laying on top of your skin. It has this straw. It's almost like a drill bit that like digs deep into your skin. I mean, you could see that right there. That's a couple millimeters still in the skin.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like sticking a straw inside you. It's injecting all of that fluid, that enzyme, and then starts to slurp it out.
Ugh.
I think there's a couple shots early in the video where you can see the enzyme at the tip of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's injecting a considerable amount of this liquid that
Wait.
is designed to liquefy you.
Way more than you'd think.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing the mouthpiece, you're like, oh, maybe it'll be just a tiny drop. Like it's a considerable amount of fluid, like you said. And I was just shocked by how much it was like latched in there. It was almost like it had reverse barbs, almost like a cholla spine, like a cactus. You have to rip it out. So
the way you can see it pulling on your skin like that is impressive.
Yeah. So again, visually was way different of an experience than I was expecting to see. Great shots, by the way, Asa. Really nailed that. And it did hurt. It did hurt badly. Seared.
Yeah, that got
It's like hot poker. Just sizzled.
Okay. Yeah, that hurts.
Let's see how.
That is like a hot poker.
Yeah, hot poker. Exactly.
Okay. My skin
It was almost numbing.
feels so
It
weird.
was. It hurt.
like-
It was tingling. Felt fiery.
Simmering. Be a gentle touch. Like I expected. When I was
There it
pulling
is
it out, you could see its tongue.
That's a great shot. There it is again. So it hurt really badly. However, at this point, I've gone past the point of no return, and now I have to go get the blood test no matter what, because we don't know what parasites this particular insect has. Now, not all kissing bugs have parasites. Some definitely do. Those kissing bugs in Costa Rica absolutely do. This one we kind of don't know. And that's when I went to the International Health Clinic to get tested here in Boston. They were not super concerned with the Chagas disease, but they're like, there could be any amount of parasites. So I had to get a full board of parasite screens, which actually made me feel pretty good because, I've been bitten and stung by so many things and we've traveled so far across the world. I was kind of curious if I did have any parasites. Like, what else do I have cooking? So it was a good probably thing to do. Maybe you guys should do a test at some point.
I was literally thinking that. This video is
Yeah,
making me
might be due.
rethink. Do I need to go get tested for some parasites?
You had a mystery bite in Borneo.
I
You
did.
did? You did?
Yeah, on my back when we were searching for the.
Was it a sting or a bite?
Still
Something.
unclear.
Mystery.
My back got like weird and like scabby from it. It was like a nasty bite. Like it was definitely some type of.
Sounds like a spider bite.
Could have been.
Yeah.
I remember telling Lockie, I was like, something's biting my back. Something's biting my back, and I had the
I remember this.
trekking bags on.
And he was like, no, it's not. And then he lifted it up. He's like, yes, it is.
yeah. At first, I started to like try and lift my shirt and show him. He's like, nothing's there, mate. And then I was like, no, there is. Lifted a little more, and he's like, ooh. And then I just felt him slap my back. And then I was like, what was it? And he's like, don't worry about it.
So let's see the BSI score. Intimidation. We gave it
I love that shot of it flying away.
Yeah.
such a cool insight.
God,
I mean,
we
like
got
look
so
how-
much good footage of that thing.
7-8.
Such a
Fair score. Didn't really see much from it. It was more sensation than inflammation.
well, there it goes.
8-1. I might reconsider that now. I might
Yeah.
drop that a little lower. The aftermath.
Aftermath. What did we give it for
I
aftermath?
think you're giving it a high one. I gotta think.
Well,
Having to go to the hospital, right?
anytime you get a blood test, there's anxiety
Mm-hmm.
that comes to that. I don't care what it's for.
We got production value in the
Yeah.
medical department.
It's really nice of them to let me film that. So 0.02. Something showed up. What? What?
Ooh.
Yeah, what showed up? 7.3.
Okay, that feels fair.
7.7. Maybe a touch high now looking back on it. I think
I
we
feel like
sh-
it's in the sevens pretty safely.
Yeah, safely in the sevens. It's yeah. That's one thing I will say about the BSI that I've started to wonder is, should we go back and reassess in hindsight?
I think once we do Murder Hornet and that comes out, gotta not reset the scale, but revisit. Think about
I also like to do, maybe this is a great podcast where we should go through the scale, re-rack some of the scores based on experience, but also I'd like to see where things order-wise land if it's just one of the factors. Like, what is the number one intimidation? What is the number one pain only? What is the number one aftermath? And look at those like top threes, like where do those fall?
Also be interesting to do it without intimidation, which is the one that people always are getting.
It's definitely the most controversial. Like and people always say, oh, it's so subjective. I'm like, well, guys, it's all subjective, but it's certainly the most nuanced one in terms of you look at something on screen, and I can tell you, even when I see that insect on screen, it's way safer sitting here in this chair than it is holding it on your skin. So the intimidation in the moment definitely has a different feel than watching the video.
Totally.
And I guess that's the reason for the scale. A lot of it's the experience of the person out there, us, me, and it's hard to, ideate from afar or imagine it until you're there, having it happen to you. So in that respect, I think intimidation is a valid piece of the scale, but it would be interesting to look at it from a pain aftermath only.
Yeah,
you're a big fan of intimidation. I know you like it.
I think, like, okay, so imagine you had a bullet ant centipede, something very similar in pain from the ratings. What is the more unpleasant experience between those two? I think, but far and away, it's the centipede. And I think that's got to be accounted for.
Okay, yeah. Fair. I think that's fair.
Because it's like, okay, so imagine a world where you had to get either bitten by a centipede or stung by a bullet ant. Which one would you pick?
Bullet ant every day.
Yeah.
All day.
Exactly.
All day, every day.
I think that's
the
worth
terror
accounting
of seeing
for.
that thing biting you is very real compared to, say, a big ant on your arm that hits you and being like, shit, that really hurt.
The pain is very severe with the centipede too. So it's not just the. I mean.
Oh yeah, so they're in the same ballpark in terms of pain, but one is way. We would much rather less go through with one than the other.
Put it this way: if it was like a blind test, like I don't know which one hurts more, and you just look at them, there's no way you're saying centipede.
Yeah,
there's no way you're not picking the ant. You're picking the ant every day. Oh man, awesome. Well, we talked a lot about my experience with this video. What was your experience with this?
I really enjoyed that environment because usually when we're in the jungle, it's super, super hot. But we were up at a pretty high elevation making this video. We were near Mount Kinabalu in Malaysian Borneo. And I think the top of that mountain's like very high, like 13,000 feet. Am I making that up?
Beautiful mountain too. I'm just trying to pull up an image.
I would love to do that hike at some point.
Can see it. There it is. Right.
It's like a 2-day hike to the summit. And you get to like trek along the top of that. Looks just incredible.
So like the whole time, like just beyond the canopy of trees, like that is basically an eye shot. Really high mountain, but the temperature was like in the mid 60s. So you're like in this very accommodating temperature to work in,
right? And
also have so much biodiversity. So it was like kind of like the best of both worlds. We're kind of really getting to like enjoy being outside, and also in this just amazing place.
Yeah,
totally. And this, so. I used to, when I was younger, before I started traveling and experiencing these environments, I always thought like everything closer to the equator is hot, but it's all about elevation, really. It's how high you are. The lower you are, the hotter it'll be. The higher you are, well, relatively, right? Like if you're in the North Pole, of course it's going to be cold. But like, you can be smack dab on the equator and at the top of a volcano in the Galapagos, and it could be freezing cold.
Yeah.
Yet on that same trek, you can be down on the beach, and it can be like a frying pan. So I imagine at the top of Mount Kinabalu, it's pretty darn cold.
Yeah, when we were doing some of our snake searches at night, and it was like pretty close to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Like you wouldn't want to be on the top of that mountain underdressed.
We had jackets.
Yeah.
Yep. I love the location too. Hey, so what's one of your big takeaways from this?
Oh man, this was maybe one of the most unique sting videos we've ever done, actually. And I thought it was like a pretty enjoyable film overall. Like it was a fun bug to actually like interact with, and it had a lot of personality. So this is one that actually like stuck with me more.
Really? I mean, I would say this, out of the B-roll that you shot, especially on the first half of the trip, you were like really nailing it. Like you looked at some of the images of that insect and just watching that back, like
so good.
Yeah, you could tell. And it's not like when you're, because I've been in your shoes, like filming the macro and B-roll. It's not that you're choosing to do a bad shot or a good shot, but you can tell when somebody is really into what's visually in front of them. It translates.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the quality of the shots just improve, and that's not something that you can really control.
Yep.
It just is what it is. But I can tell watching that you were super into this one.
Yep. I think this whole environment was pretty like inspired all of us a little bit. To be honest. Just to like.
We filmed that at a cool place too. They remember that like they had like a Hobbit set.
Yeah.
There was like a little Hobbit hut.
It was one of their like national parks there.
Yeah.
And,
Hot Springs? Was it by Springs?
Yeah. It had springs within the park that you could actually like stay at.
Yeah. And there was like was there like a lazy river there? There was like a resort next to it.
They made like a mini water park kind of within it. But it was like not a lot of people there.
It was the middle of the rainforest.
Yeah.
It's still very rustic.
Yeah.
Let's not make it, it's not, like Kings Island or Cedar Point. Like this is a very remote tourist destination. But I do remember the Hobbit thing for some reason.
Yep.
It was cool. It was very cool. Actually, so I wanted to point out in this video, I liked the thumbnail that we did for this. It's right here. Let me see if I can zoom in. Boom. And I liked this thumbnail so much. It was a new concept. We were really playing with the idea of like, how do we demonstrate an insect sting or bite on the title thumbnails. And for anyone who isn't aware of this, like titles and thumbnails are a very big deal on the YouTube platform. It's a big part of whether you reach an audience or not. And that's probably a whole nother podcast that we can talk about. But whenever we have a great thumbnail, I usually get it framed. So just to prove how much I like this one, right there, this sits on my desk. Show that to the camera. It literally sits on my desk. Every day I look at this. And yeah, this was a big one for me too. And, it's not our most viewed video ever, 1.7 million so far, which is not bad.
It did, we have the top videos channel, and it really went on that one too.
Did it?
I think it has more than the original.
Seriously?
Yeah, I think, for whatever reason.
Well, whatever it is, this one definitely stuck with me as one of my favorites as well, and stand out from the trip. The centipede was way worse.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't seen the centipede video, go check that out. But yeah, man, that was a good one. I'm glad we got to dive into that. It's time for questions, guys. This is a new segment that we're going to start doing on the Becoming Brave podcast, where we look for the best questions to answer from you, the audience. And if you have questions about this video or any video in the Brave Wilderness universe, or any subject matter that would apply to this podcast, hit us up in the comments. Like, ask your question there. Asa, Andrew, and I will be looking every single week before we record again, and we will call out the best questions, answer them to the best of our ability. Hopefully it'll be a really fun, entertaining segment that we're doing from now on. So the assassin bug questions, the first one is from Teddy Adams, 1569. Isn't Chagas disease spread by the feces of the assassin bug, so wouldn't the bite have no risk in transmitting Trypanosoma cruzi?
Very well educated.
Very well educated. Looked it up. Clearly did some research. Good job, Teddy. I kind of half answered this earlier. And yes, it is spread through the feces because the parasite lives in the gut of the assassin bug. So when they excrete, when they go to the bathroom and they have the fecal matter is where you're exposed. So you do have a risk only in the bite, actually, unless you were to like take a bunch of these assassin bugs and just rub it on
an open wound.
Yeah. But the assassin bug bite creates a wound, and the parasite actually gets in through that bite hole.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they're getting in through the bite. Without the bite, there would be no pathway for the parasite to enter.
But it's not the bite itself that is injecting that parasite.
Yeah.
Right?
The bug's not like regurgitating
the parasite
into. Yeah. So unlike, like a deer tick with like the Lyme disease, that's coming from the bite because they're actually throwing up into your blood. Where this is, a roundabout way for the parasite to enter your skin. So good question. Valid. Next question. You want to read this one, Andrew?
Yeah, sure. We have Radio Demon Slater.
Demon Slayer? Slater? Lastor?
Whatever.
950. Can you try the Magaraga bug?
I don't even know what that is.
I want to know what that is.
Maraga
I'm going
bug.
to search it.
Yep.
Might be butchering that. Probably am. But
well, you stumped us.
Yeah, let's check it out. Could be new. It seems to be an anime character thus far.
Yep. Whoa. What is
Okay.
that?
Good find.
Whoa.
I've never seen that before.
What is that?
Oh.
That's crazy looking.
Where are its eyes?
Do we have like a article that we can read about this thing? These are images.
Oh my gosh.
Go to all.
There has to be a Wikipedia on this. Is this a real bug?
Brazilian tree hopper. Look that up.
All right, Brazilian tree hopper.
Okay, so it's more commonly known as the Brazilian tree hopper, it looks like.
Which is a small, unique insect found in South American range. So South America, which we are going to later this year. Known for its distinctive bulbous helmet-like structure on its back. These tree hoppers are closely related to leaf hoppers, cicadas, and they feed on plant sap.
So it doesn't sound like they're stinging or biting.
Was a question about that?
Could sting.
Can you try
it?
So I think maybe to film it was the question. Can you try filming
Can we
one?
try and track one down? That would be a very cool bug to film.
If we find one, it'd be fun to stop down for macro for a
bit.
bit.
It looks tiny.
It
I will
does look
say.
very, very tiny.
Its eyes and mouth part are down here.
Mm-hmm.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that does. They say it's a helmet.
What a structure.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like, I don't know, man. Almost looks like a parasite, or it looks like you know that the bisops fungus, like the Last of Us. Is that what it's called?
Cordyceps.
Cordyceps.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of looks like fungus growing out of it.
Yeah.
It kind of has like a little helicopter look going too. Like
Cool creature.
Yeah.
Definitely will. So to answer the question, yes, we will try to film one when we visit South America later this year.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up, Asa, you want to do this one?
Fishin' Wit Willie.
I like that name.
Can you guys do the wheel bug?
Mm.
And then there was another comment right below that one, actually.
Now, this insect I do know. This is another assassin bug. Ooh. The wheel bug is actually the largest of all the assassin bugs, and I've actually seen one in the wild. They're pretty crazy looking.
North American, huh?
Yes, I've seen them in Ohio, believe it or not.
Really?
The reason it's called a wheel bug is because of this, in its thorax, it has this wheel, almost a gear-looking a shell on its back, in the middle of the abdomen. I think it's technically a piece of the thorax, but the wheel, the spokes, if you will, is why it's called the wheel bug. Now, they are really big. I want to say the one I saw was easily 1.5 inches, like almost 2 inches, much larger than the assassin bug from the video.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Let me see. The North American wheel bug. So they're in North America. Yeah, it's 1.5 inches. One of the largest terrestrial true bugs in North America. So not just assassin bug, one of the largest bugs. And I bet they can put on a pretty nasty bite. Now, being in North America, you definitely have much more susceptibility to chagas and other parasites that we have here.
So is that something you would
consider? Because it's such an easily treated situation, I probably would. So I've actually been bitten by a deer tick before and had this first onset of Lyme disease, which gives you that bullseye. Have you guys ever had that growing up in?
My brother
I got a lot
when
of
we
deer
were
tick
kids.
bites, but never the bullseye.
So I got bit in the knee, of all places, like such a weird spot, like literally like right here on my knee. So I found it, as I was about to take a shower. I was like, oh my gosh, and it actually hurt. I remember it hurting, which is like very weird for a tick bite. Pull the tick out. 2 days later, I have this bullseye. And I'm like, dang it, it got me.
Yeah.
So I went to the doctor, and all they do is they give you antibiotic. I think it was like doxycycline. And it was only like 2 pills. It wasn't even like a week of it. It was 2 days, and boom, good to go. So I know with the Chagas parasite, it's also easily defeated. So I long answer to a short question. Yes, I think I would if we find a wheel bug, which I've only seen one time. If we find one, I'd be willing to take a bite, see how it stacks up against the Bornean assassin bug. So yes,
cool.
We would do it. Was there another question to that?
Just doubling up on it. I've also seen it on some other comments. Right. People are curious about that one.
All right, now we've got some general Becoming Brave comments. So Phil S8, do you think you would ever take a sting from a stingray? I would in the right circumstance. I would not do it scuba diving, right? It'd have to be controlled. I think it's super fascinating how people are actually stung by stingrays. When you're underwater, the reason like Steve Irwin got stung the way he did, they actually flip the barb up because they're flat and they're laying on the bottom, and they flip the barb up and they use this motion. They try to like impale whatever is attacking them. So like say something's coming down trying to eat it, bang, hit it with the barb. However, I've noticed, and I've seen in a lot of videos, when people catch stingrays on a fishing rod, like, on reel, they try to go to unhook the stingray, and they have the ability to flip their tail around and almost like thwap you with it.
I think I've seen the clip you're referencing. It's pretty hardcore. Like, they really are have some pretty good aim.
So that's probably how I would do it. I would take a sting maybe in like a touch tank or something.
Yeah.
Place my hand on it and see if I could take the sting. I would do it. It would just have to be under the right circumstance. We'd have to be in the right situation.
Yeah, controlled environment.
Yeah. How Andrew, put your producer hat on and figure out how to pull that one off.
Oh, you don't got to tell me twice.
This one's 4 days ago. We don't have a
Quinn Shackleford 6330.
Oh, here it is. Okay, yeah, I didn't see that. Sorry. What are your favorite animals? Mine is the African wild dog. Let's go around the table. This is a good group answer. I'll go last. Andrew, you want to kick us off? What's your favorite animal?
My favorite animal is the bluefin tuna.
Ooh,
really?
Very, very cool animal.
They are cool.
They can live all over the globe, and they are just they live such an intense life. So they breathe through what's called ram ventilation. So basically, in order to breathe, they have to swim forward and force water over their gills. Like a fish in a pond has the ability to move its gills and draw water into its mouth over its gills. The tuna has to be swimming in order to get oxygen over its gills. So basically it has to keep moving all the time, and they are just eating machines. You can find them all over the planet. Very cool animals. The lions of the sea, if you will. I don't know. I'm just making that up.
They are impressive. They are essentially just a giant meat missile. They are all muscle. Yeah. They are all muscle. Like, look at that. That's my I've seen videos lately of people kayaking. You seen the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where you have, basically Volkswagen bug size tuna fish jumping and feeding around them. They are impressive. That's a good answer.
Very, very interesting.
Very cool.
Animals.
Asa.
I don't want to steal this from you, but it was on Brave Wilderness that I was introduced to the turtle frog.
Oh, the turtle frog.
I mean, and ever since then, honestly, it is my favorite animal.
It's also sitting on my desk as
it's such a special little guy.
And there it is.
Yeah. Arguably,
I still can't believe the specimen that we found. Like,
yeah, he was the or she.
He or she, yes.
Was the perfect little turtle frog.
It always makes me really proud when we shoot a video on a very novel animal like a turtle frog, and then we are like
dominate Google search.
Yeah, like,
and it's all the best looking ones of it are from.
Ours was so much cooler looking than some of these other. And like, no offense to these other little turtle frogs, but like, look,
very brown
coloration. This one, I mean, cool head. This one's cool too, but like, look at ours. It was so pink.
And it was smiling. Yeah. Like, it has like this little like smirk across its face. Unlike the if you zoom back out, the South African,
the grumpy frog.
That's
next on the list.
It's like the arch enemy of the turtle frog.
Which we got to do at some point.
If there was a Pixar movie about rain frogs, like
this would be the villain.
Yeah, absolutely the heel. Good answer. It was not my answer, so you didn't steal anything. It's up there. It's definitely my favorite animal catch. Just all the circumstance. We've done a podcast on this. So you've been following the podcast. You can go back and watch that one. It's a good one. Good choice. My favorite animal is actually an aquatic species. Land species would be the green and black poison frog.
All right.
Which
I know that about you.
Yeah. So when I was like in third grade, I did a science report on the green and black poison frog. Let's just show on Dendrobatus auratus. So this
cool.
This is my favorite frog. I don't know. Turtle frog may have. Turtle frog and green and black poison frog are right neck and neck right now for me. But as a kid growing up, I was so fascinated with poison frogs, and they're just so cool. I mean, look at them.
They're so cool.
But it's not my favorite animal. My favorite animal is actually fish that can fish. The painted frogfish. And there are many species of frogfish, but the painted frogfish is my favorite. There was an aquarium next to the laundromat where my mom would do our laundry, and they had a painted frogfish that was yellow, just like this one.
Oh, it's so cool.
The owner of this pet shop, I don't know his name, but obviously very nice person, because every time I would come in, he would wait to feed the frogfish, and he would feed it one of those like little guppies, a little feeder guppy.
Oh my gosh.
And you could see with their antenna, it would start to just, try to attract the food. Let me see if I can get.
Probably up over the videos.
Yeah. Like,
or would that be claimed?
There is one in our latest. Oh, here's one.
Yeah.
There is one in our latest Wonderpuss video, but you could see here the lure, and they use it like a cast, and they like almost like taunting the fish to come closer. And I just thought that was just such a cool trait.
Yeah. And
getting to see that as a little kid, it was so impressionable, and I was impressionable, and it impressed upon me how cool animals could be. So I'm not sure I would be doing the job that I do today without the painted frogfish, because it definitely piqued my interest in bizarre wildlife.
Big shout out to the painted frogfish.
Big shout out. So yeah, that's my answer. Anybody? I guess those are all really good. So 2 fish and a frog.
I know.
We like the water stuff, huh?
And we like the strange stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody said like zebra.
Yeah, if you had to do do you guys have a favorite mammal?
Mountain gorilla.
Okay.
Mount for me, yeah.
I like mountain lions.
Ooh, mountain lions.
Okay.
Pumas.
Mine's just like
a pug.
I was gonna say pug.
Dog.
Dog is
Dog specifically pug.
When I was growing up, a hippopotamus was my favorite animal.
I really liked hippos.
My parents took me to the zoo, and they would feed them pumpkins. Did they do that at the zoos you guys went to? Like after Halloween, everyone would donate their pumpkins, and they would feed them to the hippos.
I don't remember that, but that sounds like
a
cool.
We don't have many good
cool
zoos
experience
in the Northeast.
Yeah, there's not too many.
Well, guys, that was awesome. Thanks everybody for joining this podcast of Becoming Brave. I don't even know what episode we're on. We're up there.
15?
14 or 15?
14 or 15. So now available on Spotify and everywhere you can listen to podcasts, as well as seeing it right here on the Mark Vins channel. Again, if you have a question that you want us to answer in an upcoming Becoming Brave podcast, make sure to drop that in the comments. Thank you all for watching and joining us, and we will see you next time on Becoming Brave.